Hi everyone. So today I have decided to make a video regarding an application I made 5 years ago, which was 2018. So this application, it was a web application. I will be doing 3 videos. First video, it will be the theory, the idea behind this application, who are the users, and the technology I used to build this application. So the reason why I decided to make 3 videos is because I don't want to make a long video and then annoy you guys. So with that being said, let me start sharing my screen and then we can start with the theory part. All right, share my screen. Here we go. All right, so as I said, this first video, it will be just typical theory. This application I call the Learning Tree clone because I want to make something that is similar to Learning Tree, but it was not really like Learning Tree because Learning Tree is a big application, and I made this one just in 3 to 4 weeks, which was less than 1 month or max 1 month. So as I say here, it's a simple web application that deal with learning process. And the first thing here we're going to see is who are the user for this application. The first one is a customer, is the person who want to apply for a loan. And that person, we provide the personal information and then the document to support that loan application. So we have in this application, we have 4 type of loan. So the first one is student loan, second home, third car, the last one is personal. And then the second user for this application, it's employee. So the employee are the people who are going to process the loan application. There are 3 departments in this employee. The employees have 3 departments. The first one is pickup, then verification, and then legal. I just decided to call them like that. I don't really know if in real life that's how it works, but for me, that's how I named it. I will be explaining to you why I did that and then what every department does. So the other user, it will be the admin. The admin has so many rights on this application. These rights when in coding, we call it CRUD. It's like creating, reading, updating, and then delete. So this admin can do all of this here. With the employees, department, banks, and loan and customer, there is no CRUD for those 2, but for the first 3, employee, department, and bank, the admin has the rights to do the CRUD functionality on them. So what is the app flow? I will explain again. The app flow is that the customer submit a loan request, and then at that time a temporary credentials will be created for them so they can log in the application and then see the status of their loan application. So here we have 4 status of a loan. We have a new, which is the loan just is being created right away, and then there is uploaded. It's when the documents of those the documents are uploaded in the system, and then verified when the documents are verified that they are not fake, they are true, and then approved or denied. That's how it says it's when it's approved or denied. So these are those 4 status for a loan. All right. So the admin assigned the loan processing to the employees based on this criteria. So as I said, employees, they're in different department. So if the loan has the new status, the status that is stating it's new, it's only assigned to the employees who are in the pickup department. So I just made this up like the employees who are the pickup department are going to pick up the document that the user said are going to provide in order to check if that person will be able to pay back the loan. So I created this department that the person will go to pick up those documents. And then the second criteria is that if the loan is in the uploaded status, only the employees in the verification department can be assigned to those loans. And if the loan is in a verified status, that loan can only be assigned to the legal department. Oh, here there's a typo. It's not legal, it's legal. I have to change it. Let me change it right away before I forgot. Here we go. All right. So and then there is the other criteria is that and they assign to. Okay, so the admin can only assign the admin assign this loan regarding if the employees has how many workload. If let's say employee has like 4 loans that he has to process, and then there is another employees who in the same department as that one, and then he has only 2. Obviously, if there is a new loan that comes in, the admin has to assign to the person who has less workload. So here let's talk about the technology I use because it's a web application. I want to build something using Java and being a web. So for that we can use Java Enterprise Edition. That's what I used, meaning I will be using JSP. So you can use Servlet or you can use JSP. I'm sorry, I'm French speaker. Sometimes I get confused between G and J. I think this one is J. Java server page. So these pages, they allow you to embed Java code inside HTML pages. It's very beautiful, but just for small application, you don't want to mix all those languages together, but it's very convenient if you are doing a small application, of course. For the build tool, I use Maven. We have so many build tools out there. There is Ant, there is Gradle, but I use Maven. So it will manage the dependencies, it will manage the automation, and then the whole life cycle of the project. And then because I use Spring, it's not Spring Boot, I have to put a web server inside my application, which is TomCat. If I use the Spring Boot, it will be easier because Spring Boot come with TomCat inside it. But because here it was a Spring, so I had to download a web server and then put in my application. Why I choose TomCat is it's open source and it provides a runtime environment for Java-based web application that uses servlet and JSPs, which I used. I use the JSP Java server pages. All right. So and then the other technology I use is ORM, which is object relational mapping. So it's used to connect and work with the database using Java objects. So those objects they are called the data access object or DAO. So it's very easy to communicate with the database when you put the ORM inside your code, because you don't need to go to communicate with the database by yourself, because you can only put the annotation in your class and then you will be able to communicate with the database directly. So for that, I have so as here it's explained, it provides a way to represent and manage data in a relational database. Here I used Hibernate as ORM, and it's very popular. Many people they use Hibernate, and I think it's very convenient too. For database, I use MySql. It's easy to use. So for the tool to work with database, first of all, I download SQL Developer, in the middle of installing it. So yeah, when I was developing this application, I used Oracle database. It was long back ago. So I want to continue with Oracle database, but so for Oracle, that's long story. I didn't find a good Oracle database on Mac. I think there is for Windows and then Linux. For Mac, I didn't find, but for the client part, so these Workbench and then SQL Developer, they are the client part. So I found this SQL Developer that can be used also for MySql. And while I was installing this SQL Developer, I forgot what username, password I put. And then when I want to connect to the database, I was not able to. So that's why I have to go back and then download for Workbench. But after I figured that I can insert this, because this SQL Developer, it's for Oracle, I figured that I can insert my SQL inside it. That's it. A long story. Sorry for that. So you can use Workbench, you can use SQL Developer, it doesn't matter. Whatever is easier for you. So 8 point is I used a free online HTML JavaScript template. Please, this application on the UI part is not that beautiful. Please don't look at that, because I just want something that is functional. It does the functionality that I want to implement, but on the beauty outside, it's not that beautiful. Just bear with me. Don't look like, oh, it's ugly. I know, but yeah, this is a template I found on online, but I just want to give you a heads up. It's not like beautified application that you will be seeing. It's just something that I want to be functional. All right. So the 9th point, it's a Spring MVC framework that I used. As I mentioned earlier, before I didn't use Spring Boot, I used Spring MVC framework. It can be confusing for people who don't know that, but Spring Boot, it's like Spring, but it has more configuration there. You do less. So in Spring, you have to do configuration for yourself, like version of dependencies. But when you use Spring Boot, everything is done for you. And it has also TomCat. You don't need or have to download and install TomCat in your code. But here I use Spring MVC. So MVC means Model View Controller. Controller? I don't know, one of those. So here, let me explain a little bit about how this MVC architecture works. So let's say the user will send a request, all right? User send the request, and then let's say, for example, it's an admin. Admin wants to see the list of all the loan that has been submitted to our application. So that's a request. And then it's through a web, and then the controller will intercept that request. And then if that request require data from database, then the controller will send the request to the model. So the model is the part in our application that speak or communicate with the database. So when we need data, for example, for this request, if we need a list of loan, we need data from database, because all of those, they are stored in database. So we are going to check the model. The model has to go to check in database, or maybe I should have put the database part here, but it's not in MVC. So as you can see, it's MVC. So, but the first thing to intercept the request, it's controller. Controller go to the model talk to the database, and then the database get the information, get the data to give the data to the model, and then the model give back to controller. And then if it's something that we have to put in our views, the views, when you say the view, it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or the end user will see. So we have to take those data we get from the database, and then we put in the whatever form we be having that the view. So the view here is what the user will see, and then the controller will pass. We see which view can handle those data. Then it will pass to the view, and then the view will give it back to the controller, and then the controller will give back to the user. So that's how it works. Controller, model, view. Yeah. So here I was explaining that in detail. So the last part here in theory is that I presented the class we'll be having like in database here. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there are more. I think there are 2 more I didn't put here, but we will get to see them when I show the code, because those they're intermediate tables, but I will show you. Maybe I should have put those here, but yeah. So it's like there is intermediate table between employee and loan, because we have to see which employee has been assigned to which loan, what date, and then we can present that separately. But here I just want to show you we have employee table, the customer, document, loan, bank, department. How this works is that the employee is part of the department, and then employee can be assigned to the one or many loans. The loans is in the one or many. It's bank can have one or more loans, and then loans is only for one bank. The customer can have one to many loans. Then one loan is only for one customer, and then this loan has one to many documents, but one document only for one loan. Then the customer has documents. So this is the relationship between different tables in our database. All right. So this is the part of theory. I think I didn't confuse you, or I was able to explain the idea behind this application. I'm going to pause here, and then we start the demo part. All right. Stop sharing and then end. Thank you very much.